It's YouTube. Face it. Where's my microphone? Ah, the microphone is working. Hopefully you can hear me. YouTube is playing up. What else can I say? It's just playing up. I mean, I'm checking on YouTube itself, and YouTube has a delay, so that doesn't help. Let me get Discord going anyway. So, see if anybody's in Discord. Oh, there's quite a few people in Discord, but nobody can hear me. Oh, I can't hear them. Oh, I can hear somebody now. Hi, how's it going? So yeah, YouTube is playing up. I don't know what YouTube's problem is, but YouTube has a problem, as per usual.
Yeah, it is. It has a problem.
It's not OBS. I mean, my end is got no drop frames, churning out at the proper frames per second, and got around 6,000 kilobytes a second. But for some reason, YouTube is just rubbish. Oh, it looks like it may have settled down. Looks like YouTube may have settled down a little bit now, because it was telling me in the preview in the YouTube studio that basically everything was going to shit and there was absolutely no data going through, when there was data going through, because I saw it. So, go figure. So, how's everybody doing anyway? Let's get some stuff up and running, get some replays going. This is Dustin, the only, what's that? Dustin There Alone. Dustin There Alone, rolling out in his Fosh 155. So, at least now, YouTube seems to be working.
Mm-hmm.
But now the game seems to be lagging.
Yep.
So, if there's one thing, it's one thing and another thing, and everything's just... I have big problems. I'm having problems with the game at the moment. The reason it is at my end, for some strange and unknown reason, the United Arab Emirates, my service provider here, blocked the game. Can you believe that? So if I go via VPN, it's fine. The game works perfectly. But if I don't go via VPN, then the game is blocked. Now, it was unblocked yesterday. It shouldn't be blocked. It's not blocked for any reason other than my service provider is a complete utter muppet. Wanting to extract lots of money out of you and giving you nothing in return. But hey, welcome to the UAE, where monopolies exist. So we've had another. Is everybody still there? Maybe. So we've had another week without drama. Amazing. Well, can I say that? Have we had another week without drama? So, whose clan lead is a dickhead? Which clan? Which clan are you talking about? There's lots of clan leads who. You got your 1K, did you, Fizzy? God, what you been doing? Lots of giveaways. When did you hit that, mate? And why didn't you tell me? When did you hit it? Who gave you a shout out? 1,006 subscribers. Wowzers. That's good going, dude. Congratulations indeed. So what's this? I'm trying to keep up with the chat at the same time. So, oh God. Oh, so you streamed with Lord Cantius. Yeah, I saw some of that stream. Yeah, well done, Fizzy. So we need to have a chat at some stage. Do good, Dominic. Stop changing your name. So, anyway, as I was saying, so basically we've had absolutely zero drama realistically this week. I don't think. I've not heard any drama anyway. There is things happening, competition. There's a tournament that is being undertaken by, I can't remember who's running it. I think R2K already. Say again?
Satan, Zerd, and Nicolada.
Yeah, but I think Zerd's running it, as in R2K are running it, aren't they? And you're bringing the top 8 in to have this like tournament.
Not only R2K, it's Satan from Legion as well.
Ah, it's Satan as well. So, and I know it's being streamed by every Satan and Rolling. When does it start? I can't remember when it starts.
It's already started.
That's what I thought. But the finals, when are the finals?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember all the dates. That's the problem.
I only know when the games are. I think it's the next games. Next game is on the 28th of June.
Ah, see, I'm a little bit out of touch because I've not been able to log on to the game at all without a VPN for the last 2 days, which has been really, really, really annoying, to be fair. Well, you only got a second class, but you got an ammo rack. That's all that matters. So that, yeah, it's been annoying that because I've not been able to log on to the game. I've missed quite a lot of things, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's only 2 days. I mean, wowzers. You miss 2 days and wowzers. You miss everything. Oof. There's some more tanks in the store, like the E75 TS, I believe, is in. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Somebody sent me a message last week, which I need to have a look at. Saying that they missed it, but they wanted to raise some points. So let's see what they wanted to raise, and maybe we can look at that. What did he say then? So, it was from Chris Smith, and he's saying that you never really talk about the flaws in the game. Oh, well, we do. And I said, well, to be fair, the idea of these is, you meant to raise these. So he says, E100 against a Vickers CR. The CR hit point blank range on the side of the E100, no damage. CR hits E100 on the front, 180 HP, damage caused. T54 against an E75. E75 hits 7 times on the rear, including with HE, only 2 pens and 55 HP of damage. Does this display good gameplay? Well, without seeing the replays, it's absolutely impossible for me to comment, to be honest with you, because whilst you're saying you're hitting the E75 7 times on the rear, I'd need to actually see the hit where you're hitting to comment. I just can't comment like that. Same with the E100 against the Vickers. I've not had any problems penning any tank in a Vickers CR, to be perfectly honest with you. But without seeing the replays, I can't really comment, I'm afraid. He then says, what about shots that disappear? Yes, ghost shots unfortunately are part and parcel of the game for various reasons. Bad ping, bad RNG, glitches. Other than that, I don't really know how ghost shots happen, to be honest with you. I'm a bit of a techno nub, to be honest with you. Bad matchmaking? Well, bad matchmaking is not the matchmaker's fault. It's the caliber of the players that are in the matchmaker queue, unfortunately. I understand a lot of people talk about bad matchmaking. For example, I've always moaned about every now and then, because, I'm a human being and we all moan, where you roll into a battle and on the one team they've got all the unicums and on the other team they've got all the new players. Well, that's not the matchmaker. The matchmaker doesn't pick the teams based on win rate or battle count or stuff like that. It picks on tanks and tier. So it picks on types of tanks and the tier that those tanks are in. We don't know fully how the matchmaker works. I mean, it's a trade secret. But I do know it's not based on win rate. So when you get a team full of super unicums against a team full of complete noobs, unfortunately, that's just the way it works. It's not the matchmaker that does that as such. It's the players. So, for example, one of the arguments I've always raised is if you've only got like 200 barrels and you're rolling out in an E100 at tier 10, then you've got a 40% win rate, then guys, you shouldn't be there. You need to go down a fair few tiers and learn how to play the tank to get your win rate up to the average win rate, which is 46%, and then you roll out in tier 10. So, it works both ways. Another one he asks, being spotted from across the battlefield for no reason and not being notified about it. Well, again, I can't, without seeing the replay, I can't comment. There's a lot of that. Some people are saying there are mods out there. Some people are saying that there's a glitch in the game. Some, however, you may be spotted by a light tank that is where you don't expect the light tank to be because you yourself can't spot the light tank. And don't forget, you're spotted, that the light bulb flicks on 3 seconds after you've been spotted. It doesn't flick on the moment you're spotted. It doesn't flick on when you're just about to be spotted. It actually flicks on 3 seconds after they've actually spotted you. So whilst you're thinking, well, I wasn't notified about being spotted, sometimes you'll get shot before the light bulb comes on. That's how the mechanics work, I'm afraid. You get spotted 3 seconds before you get notified. So, inconsistent gun aiming, well, I mean, what can I say about that? I mean, gun aiming could be ping issues, could be player issues, to be fair, Chris. Port Bay and an enemy heavy can reach C before I get there in a bulldog, even when I move immediately. It depends where they've spawned, and it depends what consumables they're using. They could be using speed boost, and if they're using a speed boost, then yeah, it depends on the heavy. I mean, if you're talking about, you're in a bulldog and they're in, I don't know, a VK100-01P, then yeah, there's a bit of a problem there, because a VK01P ain't going to get there even with a speed boost. But it depends on the tank. It depends on what consumables they've got running on that tank. So there are reasonable reasons for the things that you're asking. The ones I can't really answer, though, are without seeing the replays, to be fair. When you say not spotting enemy tanks when you're nearly on top of them, again, it depends. I mean, even though your tank has got a spotting range of, say, 200 meters, if the enemy tank is behind a building, which is hard cover, you're not going to spot the tank until you're proximity spotting that tank. That's how the mechanics work. Because in real life, with a pair of binoculars, you're not going to see a tank behind a building. So, again, I need to see the replays to understand to understand if they're flaws, glitches, or something more sinister. But I mean, there are other people on. I mean, what would they have to say? Well, what do you think about that? Not being spotted from across the battlefield for no reason and not being notified about it. So I've got Jory in the chat. So is that ever happened to you?
Not that the light bulb just didn't go off.
Well, again, I think what he's saying. I mean, he must have known that he's been spotted for either A, the light bulb, or B, being shot. So because if you're saying I've been spotted from across the battlefield and not notified about it, then either A, you must have been shot. Well, I've been in instances whereby, for example, let's take Rockfield. So I'm in a medium tank on Rockfield. I've gone to the heavy route towards the C cap. There's already a medium or a light tank coming from the other spawn in that corner, not in the TD corner, but where the map at the sea, you've got the two sort of areas up the hill. You got like sort of in areas. So you're coming from the one side, the other tanks are already there. You come around the corner and you get smacked immediately. Now that happens a lot. Now that's not because there's something wrong with the spotting mechanics. It's because the light bulb doesn't come on until 3 seconds after they've actually seen you.
Yeah.
So they see you, which means that they can snapshot you without you actually having a notification. I mean, sometimes it does happen. It's happened to me. But it doesn't mean that you're being spotted from across the battlefield. the chances are you're being spotted by a tank somewhere else, and then the other players across the battlefield are shooting you. I mean, that's happened before, whereby players have said, "Oh my God, I don't know how I'm spotted," and then tucked in a corner, because you can't see them, is a light tank like a back chat spotting everybody up in that vicinity, allowing the other tanks on his team to smack you. And that's the idea with light tanks. So I mean, this is all goes back to the roles that tanks have to play, guys. You know, in effective light tank players, what they do, they run around the battlefield spotting everybody up for the teammates to shoot them, and not being spotted themselves. So yeah, that could be the reason, I think. I don't know. Like I said, what do you think, Jory? You've been spotted and you've been smacked before the light bulb comes on before?
Yeah, there can be indeed a light tank somewhere around and a TD in the back.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the TD is just very aware, yeah, is working with the spotter.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
Then you can get smacked without getting
Yeah.
spotted.
Yeah, that's it's happened to me before. What about the ghost shots?
Well, I do have a comment or and a question for the spotting real fast.
Okay.
Okay, so number one, my comment. As a subpar player, it doesn't seem to matter which type of tank I'm in. I always get outspotted, number one. So that's kind of something. But number two is, do you think that they should possibly revisit the spotting mechanism as far as like to effectively spot another tank? Possibly you should be in sniper mode or something of that nature.
Well, have you ever seen the video that Wargaming released for World of Tanks, which is exactly the same, by the way, for World of Tanks Blitz, regarding spotting, how to spot in what is spotted. So when you're being spotted, there are 6 points. There are 6 parts of the tank that can be spotted.
Yeah, and that's what I don't necessarily agree with, because I think that for effective spotting, especially let's say like light tanks and stuff, they shouldn't have to just like drive their tank all around places and just kind of poke up on a hill. Like, I mean, to do an effective spotting, they should be in a position, and then maybe they should change the game mode to like, I would say like incorporate, like, so once they're there and they hit like the sniper mode and look around, then it would activate like the spotting mechanism, something of that nature.
That wouldn't then work, I don't think, because I mean, one of the problems that we've got with people in the game is that they drive around in sniper mode. I mean, not you can drive around in sniper mode and get away with it. Most people run into buildings and rocks and kill themselves on Castilla in sniper mode. But another point on that later. But so if you could only activate it once you got into sniper mode, you'd have either all the light people driving around in sniper mode, number one, which would be not the best, and then secondly, it would remove the spotting circles, the spotting ranges, because each tank's got a different view range. And when I've been recently I've been playing a lot more tier 10 tournaments with more challenging clans, let's say, and there are, in that type of game mode, that the players know the spotting ranges of the tanks that they're up against. So they know that if they stay at X, if they stay here, the chances are that tank ain't going to get them because they're out of spotting range. It's just, so I don't think changing that parameter would be any good. What I think needs to be made more, there needs to be more awareness on the mechanics of spotting, I think. I know Martin Dogger did a video on it a while back, quite a good video. I need to try and find that, and I'll stick a link in my community tab, because it was quite a good video. It was basically a rehash of what World of Tanks PC did. Quickie Baby also did a video on spotting. World of Tanks PC spotting mechanics are no different to the spotting mechanics in World of Tanks Blitz. So there are these 6 points of the tank that can be spotted, and I think there are 4 points of the tank that you use for spotting or something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. But a lot of people forget that, for example, and I see this a lot, so you will see people in a heavy tank or a medium tank or whatever go into a bush and then rock on their tracks. If you've ever seen that, they don't stay still, they just rock on their tracks. Well, every time you move, you're open to be spotted, by the way, because the potential of either your commander's cupola or the gun or something along those lines hitting the spot range by moving allows that. The other thing I see a lot of, which doesn't help, by the way, is at the start of the game people knocking down trees and light posts and stuff like that. You know, you're going to get spotted if you do that. I mean, I've been in a TD position on, say, mines, looking at the hill where they're going to come up, watching a tree go down, saying, right, they're going to be here in a couple of seconds, timing it perfectly, hitting a blind shot without spotting them, and hammer racking them. So people do that. They run out and they knock things down, and they think it's pretty cool to knock things down. Yeah, it probably is cool. But the problem is you're opening yourself up to be spotted. So I'll find Martin Dogger's video and stuff like that, and I might even do a video myself on it, to be honest with you, because it's been a long time since anybody did a spotting video, I think. But
I think it's still, or like it's easy to predict that someone is there if they knock down something.
Absolutely,
There's someone
but
there,
that,
even if
but
you can't spot them.
no, that's my point. But what my point is, people roll out and they purposely knock things down. And if you knock things down, the other players can see them being knocked down, which means they're going to spot you eventually. And if they don't spot you, as in light bulbs going off, a good player would anticipate where you're going and just blind shot you. And you see that in the Pro Tours. If you in the Pro Tours, you will see the pro players throwing in blind shots into places that they think the tanks are going to be. Well, that's no different when you get into the upper tiers and you're playing against experienced players who think that they know a TD is going to be in that particular position, because they know the TV routes, they know the heavies, and they know the medium routes. So they have an anticipation of where tanks are going to be before they're spotted. So
sometimes the props are really in the way when you're sniper about.
sometimes, sometimes yes, I agree. But I'll give you an example. I think I was tuning with you actually, Jory. And we were on Mayan, and he said, oh, the E100 is going to come around this side. We hadn't spotted him, and lo and behold, there pops the E100. Now, Joe is a pro player, by the way, guys. Super Unicum. He anticipated whether you're going to get these type of players with this type of awareness, anticipating where tanks are going to be. So if they put the stock potting into just sniper mode, I don't think it would help, to be honest with you. I think what would be useful is when you go into World of Tanks PC, not that I've played World of Tanks PC, but I've seen plenty of videos by Quickie Baby. There are circles, there are 2 circles on a World of Tanks PC mini-map. There's a green circle and a red circle, I believe. And those are your spotting ranges. Now, I don't understand why we don't have that in World of Tanks Blitz, because I think that would help a lot of people. Well, there probably, yeah, because, I mean, what's the biggest spotting range is about, 310 meters? Something like that?
But not without stock.
Stock is below 200, below 300 meters, but you can improve it to about 310 meters on some tanks, I believe.
In the bigger things.
Yeah, something like that. So, but I mean, having a tool for people to understand how spotting works would probably be useful, because a lot of people do complain about it. To be honest with you.
Everything I know about spotting, and every single mechanic is from World of Tanks PC, guys.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I watched the videos on World of Tanks PC about spotting. And as I said, Martin Doggett did one as well.
I learned the spotting in what PC as well.
I get spotted when I'm not in a bush, when I'm not 50 meters away from an enemy. He's not even close enough to proxy spot. But there's the thing, there's no 100% camo, there's only 80% at max.
Correct.
So, nowadays,
Also the view range of the enemy tank. The view range.
yeah, 80% of the view it also depends on it, but you know, like, people getting spotted further away than 50 meters. They're like, ow.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends. It depends. I mean, it just depends if there's a little bit. If your barrel's sticking out just that little bit, there is a spot. Don't forget, there's a spot at the end of the barrel, I believe.
Yeah, the mantlet.
Yeah.
The,
And you know, and if you turn, don't forget when you turn the turret, there's another spot on the near the driver's hatch. So when you turn the turret, that driver's hatch one still exists. And people will think, oh, if I turn the turret, then the gun is pointing away, so I won't be spotted. But no. So, but yeah, I think probably overdue for a video on spotting. Although, as I said, Martin Dogger did do one, quite a good one, a while ago though. A while ago.
Maybe you should create one as well.
Say again?
Maybe you should create one as well, like he did.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. Possibly.
Like your viewers.
If I can get enough people to jump into maybe a training room to show it, then yeah, I would. Well done, Blown Up, by the way. That's Blown Up Asia in his account. Yeah, Yeet. It was Blown Up sending me one of his videos. So this is. I didn't get many replays this week, unfortunately. What music? I haven't got any music. What are you talking about, General? I'm not playing any music, mate. Somebody must be, but it's not me. So yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe spotting needs to be looked at. What about ghost shells?
those piss me off.
Yeah, they're saying that that tank from Warhammer, that TD, is making a lot of ghost shells.
Which tank's that?
I forgot the name of that TD.
Really, the
from Warhammer. The Vindicator, yeah.
Oh, the Vindicator's bloody awful tank.
That tank is making a lot of ghost shells. A lot of people are claiming.
Well, the thing I noticed when I get the ghost shells is on the NA server, for some reason lately, they switch back and forth service quite frequently, like up to like 4 or 5 times a day. It's nuts. But what happens is when they're on like P1 versus P2, whatever one, for whatever reason, typically tends to lag sometimes. And so with the lag, the ghost shells occur quite frequently.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I have. Because where I am, I don't have the most stable of connections to the European server. I actually have a better connection to the Asian server. So my ping is generally. Yeah, it's bizarre. So my ping is generally around at the moment. It used to be around 120 to 140. On the EU server, but there's been a couple of issues recently where I've had to use a VPN, and then it goes up to 150, 180. And the higher your ping, the more chances you're going to get of ghost shells. No, Patrick, I'm not an Aussie. I'm in Dubai, mate. So the higher your ping, yeah, unfortunately, the greater your ghost shells. And it's the same with your packet loss. So every now and then you see you got stable ping, but then you have, I don't know, 10% packet loss or whatever it is, or 10% loss. The greater the loss, the greater the chance you are of getting ghost shots. So
I don't get ghost shells.
Just pray that RNG.
no, I've had a couple, and I was watching a stream with Every Good Name Is Taken, and he had a ghost shot on his stream. It went straight through the tank, literally. And he went back and he did it in super. He sort of tried to pause it, and you could see it went straight through the tank. Literally, the tank was literally, they were like this next to each other, and it went straight through the turret, and you could see the puff of dirt on the ground behind the tank. Yeah, it didn't register. So, so.
Cringe. No.
These teams are so bad today, it's not even fun.
Well, the other thing about looking at the MM, because everybody moans about that. You have to appreciate with the MM at the moment, there's an event on, guys, and you can literally get a free tank. So every man and his dog is going to jump into the game. These people are very rarely play the game, or play the game every now and then, or whatever. So yeah.
I've gone from 24 battles with 75% win rate to 44 battles with 59%.
Yeah, it's like I said, you're gonna get all and sundry on at the moment. A mixture of still, it's the weekend. There's no school. There's no this. There's no that. And there's an event on. So new proudly, can I explain what loss is? Because I can't understand it. Loss is the connection loss between you and the server.
Yeah, packet loss.
It's packet loss basically. So it's your signal basically.
It needs to.
You press your W key, which is signal to go forward. If you have lost, that might go lost, and it will stop registering it.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
what packet is. It doesn't find, if the package doesn't get there and it doesn't register that you are tapping a certain key, or it doesn't, or your device doesn't get info like a tank is spotted here.
Basically, yeah. There's basically a communication delay between you and the server. That's basically what it is over your internet. Now, it could be anything. It could be their servers overloaded. It could be your server. It doesn't matter. It's just a connection loss between because you're playing in real time effectively, and the loss is the connection delay loss that you're having. So if you've got 1% loss, the reactions are not registering as quickly as they should on the game server, basically.
I was just gonna say let's not sugarcoat it though. 9 times out of 10, it's an issue with Wargaming server delivering the signal. So.
Yeah, no, there's some truth in that. I mean, my internet, for example, if I do a speed test on my internet, I'm churning out 600 megabytes a second with a ping of 2. Yeah, if I log onto the game, the ping is 100 and something. No matter where I go. So, so it isn't. But I don't know what their setup is. To be honest with you, I have no idea. I don't know what servers they've got or anything. So, but I know people. I mean, the best ping I've ever had was when I was sat in Moscow, and I had 1. My ping was 1. Sat in Moscow. Yeah, 1.
That's a good case.
Well, I mean, majority of the player base is in Russia, so, and I would suspect that their best servers are there. So it goes to but not being funny, I found Russian internet is amazing. To be honest with you, Russia's internet service is awesome. It's really cheap and it's fantastic. it's amazing.
No wonder they have a lot of player base.
Yeah, no, it is. It's incredibly cheap and it's fantastic. Now I'll give you an example. So I'm paying through the nose over here, to be fair, for internet. So I'm paying about $150 a month, and I'm not getting great internet. If I was in the UK, I'd get better internet for 30 quid. If I was in Russia, I'd get even better internet for like $10. So, Russian internet, I must admit, is very, very good. It is very good. So yes, I was able to play the game, sat in a room in Moscow, and have absolutely no loss at all. It was fantastic. So
That's
Well, like I said, don't forget their biggest player base is Russia. 150 to 160,000 players. It's wise for them to invest in better servers there.
I can guess why they have a lot of player base, because we're World War II.
Well, no, it's not just that. If you, because I'm married, my wife is Russian, and it's in there. The guys are playing World of Tanks Blitz on the TV shows. So if you can imagine, there's like a soap opera, like in England it'd be, say, Coronation Street or EastEnders. Well, people would be playing World of Tanks Blitz in Coronation Street and EastEnders and talking about it. It really is that popular in Russia. It's people. You see it in movies, in the Russian movies. People are playing it. So it has a bigger draw there, and it's everybody in Russia knows about World of Tanks Blitz. I'm telling you, I've been to Moscow many times, and where I am in Dubai. If I go out in Dubai, go to a restaurant, there'll be people playing on their games. Yeah, it happens. And they'll be playing PUBG, which is very popular in this part of the world. If I go to a restaurant in Russia, they're playing World of Tanks Blitz and things like that. So it's just a different culture. But PUBG is very big in this part of the world. A lot of Indian players, a lot of Lebanese players. It's very, very popular over here. So.
Okay, replay sent.
Okay, awesome. So that's what loss is. And it's like I was talking to somebody the other day. The higher your ping, the less responsive your tanks are going to be perfectly honest with you. And you've heard that before. I mean, Bushka, when he was on the NA server back in the day, when he was doing live streams every week, he would refuse to play light tanks because his ping was in the 180s, and it's almost impossible to play a light tank when the ping is so high, because you just don't have the same reactions.
I shoot and there's a tiny twinge of lag or something like that, and I still hit the shot, and I'm like, how did that hit?
Yeah, but
I play on 200 ping, and it sounds like it's bad, but it's honestly because I'm very far from Europe, and it's the nearest server to South Africa, and I play light tanks fine, but yeah.
What's your ping over in South Africa?
200.
Oof!
Well, light tanks are hard enough.
Wow! And you're playing light tanks fine? Wow! Yeah.
Bad thing for me.
Yeah, even I don't get.
It's not unplayable, but it's.
No, it's not unplayable. I agree. You're right. It's not unplayable, but it is difficult. And the lower your ping is, the better your light tanks will be. And that's, as I said, if you go back and have a look at some of Bushka's live streams, he would only play heavies and mediums, slow mediums as well, not fast mediums, because the ping. Yeah. Because if you're in a heavy, thank you, Patrick DeHaan. If you're in a heavy, it's a lot better to deal with the ping in a heavy than it is a light. I mean, I have better look on light tanks on the Asia server than I do the EU server, where my ping is around between 90 to 110 on Asia, whereas in EU it varies. So I can, but there are lag issues in Asia more so than Europe, I find. So, but it's nice. It's once you get used to the ping, then yeah, it's the tanks are not that unplayable. But I got to a point when I was on the NA server where my ping was hitting 200, and then it was becoming unplayable. So well done if you're playing lights with a ping at 200, mate.
I think it's also good to play when there's only a few players are in the server right now.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's the problem with the last update.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players just jumped into the server flooding.
Yeah, they did, and that was a server issue because obviously the servers were overloaded. And if you go to, I'll show you in a minute when this replay finishes. If you go to your settings, you'll see that. Hi, Spicy, when how you doing? You'll see that the servers do have limits. And I remember trying to get into the one EU server for the update. And it was, I don't know, the limit was set at, I don't know, 9,000 players. And already it had 11,000 players. So they had to close the server and increase the amount of people that they would like. It can be annoying. Do I like the country you're in right now? Yeah, it's okay. I've been to worse countries. I'm in the UAE because I'm in Dubai. So it has its plus sides and it has its downsides like anywhere else in the world. I mean, at the moment,
Having a vacation.
well, the downsides are it's at this moment in time it's bloody hot, and I mean really hot, and the humidity's up as well, so it's not great.
No air conditioning or something.
Oh no, there's air conditioning, of course, but if you go out, it's horrid. But it's like everywhere. Every country in the world has got its up and down points. I mean, UK, where I'm from, love it to bits, but it also has its pros and its cons. I've lived in Germany, also has its pros and its cons. I've lived in Indonesia, has its pros and its cons. All countries have the good points and bad points. Yeah. I also lived in America, and depending on which state I was in, some states have more pros than other states, and some states have more cons than other states. So, for example,
More countries.
I've visited a lot. So, for example, I absolutely don't like California personally, whereas I like Texas. Strangely,
Which one is your favorite country of all you visited?
Italy.
Why?
Why Italy? Because it's amazing. It's an amazing. No, seriously, it's an amazing country. It's got amazing food. It's got amazing visual vistas. I mean, seriously. I mean, Italy is just a beautiful, beautiful country, guys. It's got stunning scenery, amazing architecture, shed loads of history, and amazing food, and truly, truly beautiful women at the same time. No, honestly, it is a beautiful country. I love Italy. Am I in a high rise? No, I'm in a villa, which most of us would say is a house. But over here they're called villas. But it's just a house. It's what we would call a house back in my country.
The only thing that attracted me to Italy is because a lot of movies have been filmed there, or the Italy was used as a movie ref.
Oh, Italy's amazing. I love Italy. Seriously, I absolutely adore Italy. Of all the countries I've been to, I would go back tomorrow to Italy immediately. If somebody said to me, "Right, go to Italy," I would go tomorrow morning. I really
You
would.
should take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, but it's like everywhere. I mean, Russia. Some parts of Russia are absolutely beautiful. Some parts are not so beautiful, but some parts are absolutely stunning. And I did the Trans-Siberian Express. I've even been to North Korea. There you go. That's an interesting one for you. That's not a country I would visit anytime soon again, by the way.
I mean, how about
North Korea.
you try visiting the Philippines when you have a chance?
Yeah, I've been close to the Philippines many times. I was working for a short while in Indonesia. I've been to Borneo. I've been to China, Hong Kong, all these places. And I do want to go to the Philippines because I'd like to go to Leyte Gulf and the Coral Sea, to be fair.
The people here are very friendly to foreigners. You're gonna love this. Literally,
Basically, the gist
they welcome
is
you with open arms.
I understand, I've heard.
Maybe
But-
someday you will go to Philippines.
But yeah, I mean, I think the weirdest place I've ever been to, as I said, was North Korea. That's the strangest country I've ever been to. So
But probably not right now since the pandemic is not over yet.
Sweden is still, North Korea is still a strange place even now. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've been to Sweden. Sweden's a nice place. Been to Finland. Finland, by the way, is another amazing place, especially if you like reindeer, because they eat a lot of that.
Like, he's visited most of the countries in the world. Only a few left.
I like Sweden. I like Finland, and but there's a lot of good players on Blitz, especially on the EU server from Finland. I mean, think of Winter War and W1B. They're mainly Finnish. Winter War is definitely Finnish. So there's a lot of Finnish players.
And win.
And Win, yeah, the Win is also Finnish. Finland's a great country. It's a really, really cool country. Really cool country. And the people there are absolutely off their tits. They're crazy people, absolutely mad. You know, they are a riot. Seriously, I mean, I remember that I was there, and it's the first time I've ever been on one of those Ski-Doo things. And the Finnish guy who was teaching me how to drive the damn thing gave me a 10-second lesson, and then basically got me to do jumps in it and stuff like this. Crazy, absolutely mad. They're off their tits, I'm telling you. So really good fun though. Drink a lot, and they go to the sauna a lot also. So, which talking of Sweden, yes, I have seen the Kranvagen, and yeah, it's looking pretty fun. It is looking funky. It's going to be an interesting tank at tier 10. I wish I was testing it, but I'm not. I know some people who are, but they can't say much because that's just the way it works. But yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
You cannot release too many information at once.
No, but one of the things I mentioned on one of these previously was I would rather Wargaming at the moment stopped churning out more tanks and churned out more game modes. I know that's harder for them.
But I think it's still okay to be putting out more tanks. It means more options to play.
Well, you say that. You say that. I'm going to just go quickly to my garage. That is a T20. That's a T2020. That's a new tank. It's an expensive tank at $50 bloody. And what is it? Well, it's an IS-5 with what is allegedly an ST1 stock turret. Now, the ST1 stock turret, for those of you who aren't fully aware, is actually an IS-6 turret, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'll show you. Because... So, if you have a look at the IS-6, it's an IS-6 turret. That's the turret of the IS-6, as you can see there. And if I then go back to the T2020, that's the turret of the T2020. It's basically an IS-6 turret, which they're saying is a stock ST1. Well, it is a stock ST1 because the ST1 didn't exist. So that's what you're getting. You're basically getting an IS-5 hull with an IS-6 turret plonked on the top with a bit more bits and bobs. So,
is that a historical tank or?
No, it's a bullshit tank. It's a bullshit tank. But back to your question, yeah, it's good to have good variety. Well, where's the variety there? It's an IS-5. It's another IS variant. And this is the thing. So if I look at tier 8, if I just look at tier 8, and I'm just going to pick medium, heavy tanks. So we've got the T20, which is, as I just said. Then you've got the Object 252U, which is basically an IS tank, another IS variant. Then you've got the WZ1122, which is another IS. That's an IS-3 variant without the pikey nose. Then you've got the IS-3. Then you've got the IS-2, which is basically an IS-6 turret on a different hull. Well, it's like an IS-6 hull, but facing backwards. That is a real tank. Then you've got an IS-5, which is an IS-3 variant. Okay, you got the KV. Then you got the IS-6 the IS-3 Defender. Then you got the IS-6. Then you got the WZ111, which is basically another IS.
Like create multiple.
Then you got the WZ110, which is basically another IS. And then you got a 112 Glacial, which is basically another IS, and that's it. So how many tanks is that? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 IS tanks in tier 8.
There are more in what PC.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but what I'm saying is, where's the variation there? Because they all pretty much drive the same. They pretty much act the same. They pretty much have the same type of guns, and they do pretty much do the same type of damage. Where's the variation? Really?
Well, when you look at those things, there's not, but tech tree lines.
Well, tech tree lines, yeah, we can look at tech tree lines. Then you've only got the IS3 and the WZ110, but this is the thing with tier 8. Tier 8 is not designed for tech trees. Yeah, that's it's one of those things.
Usually premiums.
Well,
But-
I mean, they shouldn't have more like Russian style premiums.
No.
Tech tree lines. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we have got how many tanks? In my garage at the moment? I've got 395 tanks in my garage at the moment, out of a possible 400 and something. So, do I need more tanks? Am I going to play 395 tanks in the next day? No. So, do I need more tanks? No. What do I need then to keep me in the game? Well, I would like variation. What have I got at the moment? I've got regular battles, which gives me encounter or supremacy, and I've got rating, and that's it. Those are the only two modes I've got. Now, we mentioned this before. Maybe we should do. You got tournaments, yeah, okay, but not everybody plays tournaments.
I don't even have.
Only a few.
I don't even have friends
With those.
or anything.
Yeah.
Tournaments with.
But all we said on the previous one of these streams was, instead of keep churning out tanks, because 400, I mean, I've got 395 tanks, been playing the game for 6 years. Why bother? Now you should be looking at, doing something to vary that. Maybe these missions or campaigns or whatever they are. I mean, missions we have, which is great, but let's have a look at the missions. I mean, yeah, I've been playing now for 6 years. So here's my missions. Fight one battle. Woo! Challenging. Destroy 2 enemy tanks. Challenging. Win 2 battles. Challenging. Destroy 2 tanks in 1 battle. Not challenging. 9,000 HP in supremacy. Not challenging. Destroy the tracks of 8 different enemy tanks. Win 3 battles in a row. Cause 22,000 HP. Win 10 battles in a TD. Win 3 ratings battles. None of these missions are challenging. Really.
Win 3 battles in a row is challenging.
No, it isn't. Just
Yeah,
drop.
that is
No.
challenging.
Drop down to a low tier. You'll do it easily. No, I'm serious. No, I am serious, guys. There is no challenge in those. If you could say, yeah, okay, winning 3 in a row is difficult. But I mean, I remember when I first started this game, way back. We used to have, where is it?
Minus.
Right, we used to have, and I don't know if it's still there, and it's one of the hardest, it was one of the hardest ones to get, Survivor badge. There you go. So you get a Survivor badge. You have to survive 10 battles in a row using the same vehicle to get this badge. So when you're saying survive 3 battles in a row, I'm telling you, it's not that challenging. Now, I remember when I had to get that survivor badge was difficult, and I've got a few of them. But it was never an easy one to get. Another difficult one to get was Raider. Remain undetected throughout the entire battle and be the only player to capture the base.
Got 2 medals of that.
I've got 3 of those. That is a really difficult medal to get.
Yes.
Yet nobody tries to get these anymore. I remember when trying to get the mousetrap ribbon was really difficult. You had to kill 10 mouses to get the medal. That was really difficult. It took ages for me to get it. Now, you know, it's you don't nobody even does it anymore. Nobody even bothers anymore.
Well, I think part of the problem with those
There are
rewards
other medals
as well-
is there.
The other one I haven't got yet. Survive 5 battles in a row without taking any damage.
That's hard.
I've only managed 4.
There's up to 90% probability of impossibility on that.
I've only managed 4 battles in a row to get it.
I think part of the
That
problem
sounds
with
super
those
difficult. Oh, and good
badges
morning.
Invincible.
and awards,
Mm.
Hey, let the team
Survive
talk.
methods.
Say you were saying, yeah.
So yeah, I think part of the problem with those awards and badges is because I had my eye, I was quite interested in them for a while. Now I just get them and collect them. I don't pay attention to them because there's quite literally there's no rewards for them. You don't get any. It's not a sense of accomplishment in a way.
Correct. It's no longer an accomplishment. Somebody else look at Sakei's medal. That one's quite easy to get. I haven't got it. Destroy 5 or more enemy vehicles when you have at least 5 different critically damaged modules in 20% or less HP. It's a difficult one to get. But the hardest one to get is Faden's medal. Destroy the last enemy vehicle in the battle with the last shell in the ammo.
I only have 1 medal of that.
That is unbelievably difficult to get. Unbelievably difficult.
No, can't you just rig that? Can't you just only load one shell and then go out and wait till they hit them?
That is hard to accomplish.
That's not easy. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, they would have to be a one shot, and then you have to get just the right roll. with it.
Absolutely.
And you really need to have a good team.
I'm not saying.
Bragging
I'm not
rights
saying.
and
Good
medals
luck
would be
with
a
that.
But I'm just saying. All those medals, all the achievements are accomplishments. But the problem is nobody cares to do it because
Nobody cares anymore. That is correct.
yeah. There's no rewards. There's no nothing. It's
Yeah.
not even really bragging rights anymore. Nobody even looks at that. Nobody looks at what medals you have.
Correct. Nobody cares anymore. I mean, I remember when it used to be a big deal to get Top Gun medals, high caliber medals, and stuff like that. It's not anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's a shame because if people cared about these medals, then, I mean, for example, Sniper, achieve 85% of hits out of a maximum of 10 shots fired with potential damage of 1,000 HP or more. I mean, these are really good achievements to aim for. These medals that you used to have. Like the light.
Players,
Yeah,
players talking about 75% accuracy, and that sucks.
yeah. It's like, I mean, Valley of Patterns, destroy 100 pattern tanks. I mean, it's brilliant. Hunter, destroy 100 vehicles of the feline family. I mean, I think these are great medals, great ribbons to have. People don't like them, and I don't know, they're just not interested in them anymore. They're just not interested. I mean, Master Gunner, score at least 10 armor-piercing hits in a row. These are things that new players should be aiming for.
Top Gun is a big one.
Yeah,
Sniper.
absolutely. And they should be aiming for these achievements.
I mean,
But-
that's my avatar. Is I got the Top Gun purple avatar, and I think for me personally that speaks for something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was glad when they introduced those avatars, but the problem is they're not different enough. Like nobody can differentiate what level of avatar is what.
You just
well, I mean, the avatars. I mean, the avatars. I mean, you get the cumulative ones. I've got the Centurion avatar, because I've almost. What you got to do for this? Earn Top Gun medals, and I'm at. You've got to earn 1,000 medals, and I'm sort of 300 away from that one. Then you got the Breach avatar, which is that earn high caliber. So I'm, about 60 away from that one, and then I've got Kolobanov. I'm 1 away from the next one, which is annoying.
oh, those medals.
Yeah, and then you got the avatars. Then you got the Resigny medal. I mean, I've only got I've got 3, so. And then
what I mean with that is like, people are able to differentiate like, Twister or
Absolutely.
The avatar, okay, but the levels, you know, from a level 1 to a level 7, I believe they go to something like that. But from a level 1 to a top level avatar, there's no differentiation. You can't tell. You're not going to be able to instantly look at it and be like, oh, this player's at this level. It's so difficult.
Well, I know that. I mean, but I mean, I've rolled out. I mean, for example, we've got. Is Jory still here? I can't see at the moment. Jory, do you? I mean, he's Ernest. Do you roll out with your pro avatar?
Sorry?
Do you roll out with your pro avatar?
I do.
And so you should. I mean, it's an avatar that you've earned. And do people focus you more?
Yeah, that's the problem with the pro avatar.
I'm not
You
noticing
focus
any
more.
difference.
Yeah, exactly. But
You're
it's.
using
I
a
mean,
pro avatar.
but there's not many people with those pro avatars, and there's a reason for that. Because they're difficult to get because you've got to be in the pro tour, you've got to get to the top 8, and you've got to be in that series. And the players who've got that deserve those. And I just think it's a shame that we used to have these badges of honour, so to speak, with the medals and stuff. And I don't think people are really interested in them anymore. Nobody's interested in getting a Beloit's medal or a steel wall or whatever. There just seems to be no interest in those medals, strangely.
There, probably the interest is on the game itself, having fun.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, when I first started Blitz, the medals were a big thing back in those days. And okay, the longer you play, they don't become big anymore. But it's still nice to get. Everybody still wants that mastery, don't they? They still want the gold M.
Yeah, the mastery.
Of course.
Of course.
Exactly. So people.
Thing.
Yeah, exactly. People still want that end. So there are certain things I think wargaming can do to sort of, and this is what I'm saying. The missions that they give us, I don't think they're that challenging. And considering some of the things that we used to have to do to get the medals, maybe, as I think it was Kareem who mentioned it last, maybe they could consider doing like a campaign mode where you do have to survive, I don't know, 10 battles in a row in a tank, in the same tank.
They just quite need to. They just simply need to.
I know.
Some form of a reward is the issue. There's no reward.
Well, it depends on what reward. I mean, because obviously with rewards, it all depends on what you're seeking from wargaming. And if you're seeking gold tanks and stuff like that, then they can't give those away just willy-nilly. Yeah. They can give certain things away if it's a challenging thing, like they did with the IS-6 Fearless. Okay, it's not a great tank; it's an IS-6 with a different cover. But I tell you what, if you see somebody out rolling out in an IS-6 Fearless, you know they're a good player, guys, because they are one of the top. And maybe they should do tanks like that. I'm not saying. I mean, the IS-6 Fearless. Seriously, that doesn't give anybody an advantage in the game. It's just a difficult tank to get. It's the same as an IS-6, but nothing special.
The rarest tank in the game, one of the rarest.
Correct. And then people who have that, absolutely, and I've got no problem with that. So maybe if they wanted to turn around and say, look, we're going to introduce, I don't know, a VK1, a low super, or whatever they want to bloody call it, and then have the German tier 8 premium low with a different cover like the IS-6 Fearless, and people would aim for that because not many people are going to get it. And it's little things like that keep people interested. But the problem then is you have the second problem, which we've had in the events previously. People don't get it. Oh, it's impossible to get. This is not fair. This is I wanted a free tank. So many people have moaned about the IS-6 Fearless. By the way, so many people. because certain people went on YouTube and certain comments were made that you can get an IS6 VLS for playing ratings. No, you get an IS6 VLS if you come top 10, I think it was, in the top 10 of ratings. And then if you get to Diamond League, and you weren't in the top 10, but you're in Diamond League, then you got a part or a certificate. But it will take you at least, you have to be in the Diamond League 10 seasons in a row or something to get all the certificates, which isn't a bad thing. But then it led to people thinking that getting to Diamond League isn't that difficult, and then and then they were disappointed. They didn't want to play ratings; they wanted a tank. Now, it achieved Wargaming's aim because Wargaming want people to play ratings. But it then annoyed a load of players because ratings were suddenly flooded with people who didn't want to play ratings. They just thought they were going to get a tank. So it's a catch-22. And that's the problem with this player base. It's very fickle. Very fickle.
Also the reason why they add rating missions.
Well, ratings missions are the reason, yes. They really do. Look, the problem Wargaming have is this. Every single person bitches and moans about Matchmaker. And everybody has, people have said, we want skill-based matchmaking. So they brought in ratings battles. And then people said, I don't like this, it's shit, because it's really difficult. Well, it's skill-based now. It's a skill-based matchmaker now. So it's harder. it's just harder. And then people don't want to play it. Because they got what they wanted, which is a skill-based matchmaker. They didn't like it because it was harder. Now they don't want to play it. So Wargaming have this problem. Nobody wants to play ratings apart from some of the diehards. So they're trying, and then the diehards are complaining because they say, well, I'm in Diamond League and now I'm playing with Silver League players. It's because there's not enough people playing ratings. So they've got to increase the player base to make the matchmaker for ratings give you that skill-based matchmaker, and it's whichever way they jump, it's a very fickle community sometimes that we have. It's very fickle indeed. I don't think don't get me wrong, ratings have a lot of issues, things that need to be fixed. But the problem is they can't fix those things until they get more players playing it.
I also think the calibration system for ratings is so shit. Just why can't they use last season rating, the last rating they had, the final rating score they had, and use that on kind of that around that is your rating you get into for your calibration, because now you can have a 40%er who is getting in when you're already at 4.8k rating, but he's put into the at a normal player that's average, and you just can't win those normally.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is one of the other problems that came about when they were looking at it, because there's a lack of people playing. Then there's a problem, as we know, with the calibration. And I'm not a big fan of the calibration because you really are dependent. Oh, look at that, doesn't play. You really are dependent upon your team, to be fair. And you're right, you can get thrown in with people who are completely clueless, and that really hurts your rating.
Well,
The enemy
again,
team
I
gets
think,
three good players.
I think the only answer to that is,
Well,
I think,
also ratings is only available in the evening, but then I have to go to bed because then I have to sleep.
Well, that's another issue with ratings. Yes, it's on a very strange timetable, to be fair.
Limited time, not 24 hours.
I think the only answer to the calibration though is, and the ratings in general, is that they have to implement a tier system. That's the only way I see it working.
They need to calibrate by when and also over the past 30 days, and also damage.
No.
Well,
what I mean
I'll tell you.
by tier system is the league. You need to play in different leagues for different tiers. Like a tier 8 should not be able to play in a diamond or platinum. or vice versa, a tier 8 shouldn't be able to play in the bronze league.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. But one thing I have a problem with ratings is, why is it not like realistic? In realistic mode, you can't play the IS-3 Defender or the Smasher or any fantasy tank whatsoever. So why should you be able to play them in ratings?
That's true. Very true.
You know, why can't you play them in realistic? There's got to be a problem. It's because it's realistic, and obviously those tanks aren't real. But hey, hate to break this to you, Wargaming, most of the tanks in the game aren't real. They're made up. Even the ones that you say are real are made up. They never went into production. So if you're, you know, what?
That just means they're good.
Yeah, but, well, I can say the same to you then. Wow, the Smashers should be allowed in because it's basically a blueprint of an enhanced KV2. I don't know if some guy in Russia didn't draw it. I have no idea. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're not going to allow the fantasy tanks in realistic because of whatever reason, then I think that should also extend to ratings. And you should not play fantasy tanks in ratings. Ratings should be devoid of fantasy tanks. Because you know what? As much as I say tanks are not OP, and I do say that a lot, apart from the Keniotsu, next time you all calibrate, if you've got it in your garage, just go out and calibrate in a Smasher, guys. Don't bother with any other tank. Seriously. For one, it's a tier 7, which means you're going to be bottom tier. And for two, it can blast almost any tier 8 tank out of existence. So you're going to have a really good day. And I guarantee you will not calibrate, unless you are absolutely a monkey at this game, you will not calibrate lower than mid-gold. I'm telling you. 10 games in a Smasher. Doesn't matter how bad the teams are. 10 games in a Smasher for your calibration, guaranteed you will be in Gold League. Unless you are an absolute monkey and you can't play the game properly. And then you'll be in Silver League. But you will not be anything lower than Silver, even if you're a really bad player, if you have a Smasher.
Yeah, but the Smasher's like never for sale anymore, unfortunately, and that's the one tank I really wish I would have bought.
Absolutely. And there's a reason why it's not for sale. And this is what I'm saying. So is that fair in ratings? I don't think, you know, some people say it is. I don't say it is. I don't think it is fair. Now I don't mind going into a tier 10, but it's like if you go into tier 10 ratings, up until recently, it was just chock full of missile tanks, T-92 and Sheridans.
Yeah.
The T-92s.
If you go into a tier 8 battle, everybody's rolling out an Object 252U.
What? Tier 10 ratings only.
You know, I mean, guys, this is not, you know, seriously, me rolling out in a Smasher to calibrate at 4,000 does not mean I'm suddenly an amazing player. It means I'm going out there and I'm smashing the bejesus out of people. I'm getting max, you know, I was very rarely getting below 50 points in a Smasher in calibration. Because don't forget, look at the damage you're churning out per shell. And everybody's going to spot you, so you're going to get spotting privileges as well. Oh, it's unbelievable. And these are the issues I have with ratings. Things like that.
It just means that a lot of some players, or even a lot of players, should roll out in rating with overpowered tanks, so they can get higher.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's the thing.
If the tools are given to you and you know you can't get there, but you can get there with an OP tank, you're gonna play the OP tank.
Absolutely, of course. Why would you not?
Frag. I mean, that's a given fact usually.
Yeah. So you know, make it a bit of a level playing field. Take out the fantasy tanks, because with the greatest respect, all the fantasy tanks are all premium tanks anyway. The IS-3 Defender, the T-28 Defender, the Smasher, those fantasy tanks, they're all premium. Get rid of them.
Only allowed Tech 3 tanks rating. That is
If premium removed from ratings would be a good thing for me in my.
you will only see Tech 3 tanks.
Yeah, only Tech 3 tanks.
Yeah, if you put tech tree tanks in ratings, that is more of a level playing field. It really is.
Get the tank if they grind it. Premium tanks, that's not the case. A free-to-play player like me can get every premium. I can get some tanks maybe here and there, but I can't get every single premium, say a Smasher, do like to use, say a Scorpion G, even something.
Yeah. I rolled out a ratings battle on Asia the other day. The other side had 2 Chimeras and 2 Mark 1 Defenders. That's 4 tanks, 4 premium tanks, 4 really good premium tanks. And 4 premium tanks that are complete fantasy tanks, never existed. Out of 7 tanks. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if you made ratings tech tree only, maybe. I mean, that would be difficult to get people to play ratings then. But if you started by saying no fantasy tanks like realistic, then it's not so bad. And then eventually say, right, tech tree only. And then that makes it more challenging, and that really does challenge your skill level, and it really will say if you're a gold, a silver, or a diamond league player. It will give that level playing field eventually.
Well, there's still LP tanks and tech tree tanks. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
There's very strong ones, no OP, really, realistically. But there's tanks like the IS-4, yes, but.
All tanks. I mean, as I said, I mean, personally, me personally, the only broken tank in the game, in my opinion, is the Kennyotsu, because it is utterly broken because of the reload. Aside from that, even that is not OP. It's broken, but it's not OP. And
Yeah, I never was OP.
and the reason I say that is because think of the most OP tank. There we go, the Smasher. The Smasher probably would be, in some people's minds, the most OP tank. I could give that to a player on a 43% win rate, and you would think it was one of the worst tanks in the game. So if he's only played like 100 battles, he wouldn't know how to play it. And then I could give it to a Super Unicum, who will play it amazingly and blast everybody. And one of the problems that we have in our community, and this is with the greatest respect, when you are looking at certain reviews on YouTube, and certain tanks on YouTube, and certain videos on YouTube, and I'm one of the offenders, guys, we don't put the shit games in, you know? We put the good games in. And we use the replays sent by good players, which always make the tanks look better than what they really are, to be honest with you. For example, the Sheridan. I remember when the Sheridan first came out, and I remember that top YouTubers, and I'm not a top YouTuber for Blitz, were all using videos and replays sent by his Royal Fatness, showing you how broken the tank was. Now, his Royal Fatness is an amazing player in the Sheridan. An amazing player. But I guarantee you this, he is in the 1% of all the player base who can play the tank that way. Another one who's in the 1% of the player base who can play the tank that way is Juicy Tender Steak, who's another great Sheridan player. Not everybody can play the tank like that. And in their hands, these tanks look broken. But they're not. Not really. Not really. I understand the issue with missiles, but not everybody can use the bloody missiles. Those who can exploit it, and it's dangerous. I get that. But, you know, and they are a pain in the arse in that respect. But you know what? I never really had a problem with the missiles. I had a problem with the stupid armour on the T-92 and the amount of damage that thing was dishing out on its APCR. These are the things that annoyed me with that tank. But no tank is truly broken. And what we tend to forget is what we're seeing on the internet and what you're seeing on YouTube is us YouTubers using the best replays to show you how the tanks can perform in the hands of the best players. And I mean, Jory's still here. Jory can play the FV215B like a dream. You know, no, seriously, if I had half the skill that he had in a 215B, I would be happy, because he can make that tank sing. Seriously, Not everybody can do that, which is why he's a pro player. But not everybody can play that tank that way. And in his hands, it looks broken. Yeah, I've seen clueless players roll out in that tank, and they don't do it any justice at all. I had an argument with somebody on Wargaming's official Discord, long time back now, a North American player, who was trying to argue with me and Fusilier from GNA that the 215B had the worst turret armour of all the tier 10 tanks. Which is utterly bemusing, because it's got probably one of the strongest turrets in that tier. You stick that thing hull down and nothing is going to pen you.
No, that's
How
true.
about the IS-7? It's also good.
Yeah, but he was arguing the 215B is one of the worst tanks in the tier. And I was saying, no, it's not. It's one of the best. You're just not playing it well. It is it's a difficult tank to play. And that's the thing.
With the consumables, it's so strong. Because
Yeah.
you just push quickly out of nowhere, like bam, and you go
Yeah.
in and you have the DPM to use for like shredding your enemies.
Well, it's like everything. When I first got the WZ113 at tier 10, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Couldn't play it for toffee. And I did ask Jory for some tips. I love that tank now. I think that tank is a monster if you play it correctly. It's absolutely fantastic. And these are the things you're not seeing on sometimes on YouTube, unfortunately. That's what happens. And what you're seeing is the top players playing the tanks. You know, has the player themselves are OP. It's not the tank, it's the player.
Like the perfect example for that is like the Leopard one. You get a beautiful game by a good player. He does what 6-7k damage and gets the ace on a YouTube channel. A random player who isn't that good at the game thinks, whoa, this tank is so good, so much DPM, so much damage able to be put out, and he just got smacked because he's got no armor, and he's like, how, why, what am I doing wrong? Like he doesn't.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, because that example is the sole reason I started YouTube videos. Because back in the day, before I started YouTube, I was struggling with the Leo 1, and it's a difficult tank. So I went onto YouTube and I found two videos on the Leo 1 by Bushka and one by Meadsy. Okay, and I watched those two videos, and these were the first YouTube videos I'd ever seen on Blitz, by the way. It was just randomly, I'm struggling with the tank, I watched these videos. And you know what? In both those videos, there was no way I could play the tank the way that they were showing it. And they weren't their replays, by the way. They were replays from some of the best players back then. And I sat there and said, this is stupid. I mean, this is like 4 years ago or whatever. And I said, this is ridiculous, because the average player cannot play that tank that way. And I remember the one from Bushka more than the one from Meadsy. And the one from Bushka, the guy was throwing the Leo 1 all over the place, running around like a complete crazy thing, shooting here, there and everywhere, and doing 7k damage. And not everybody can play the tank like that. And I sat there and said, I'm going to start YouTube to do a channel showing average players playing. Because not everybody's going to be able to play a Leo 1 like that. It's not possible. And not until you get really good at it. And just on that, I'm showing a game now, Leo 1, from Critical Hit, who's a good player. And not everybody can play the Leo 1 like this. Not everybody can. And you know, I've aced the Leo 1 once. That was absolutely, it is one of the hardest tanks I've had to ace at the time. That and the E50M, to be fair. Because the E50M is another tank that it's really difficult. You have to go hull down. And I got my M. I did 7,000 damage in the E50M on Fort Despair, haul down, and just farmed. And that was it. And I think I blocked him in like 3,000.
The E50M is OP if you play it right, but it's a lot of people struggle with how to, because you need to angle the armor right.
Absolutely.
For everyone. for most players, really.
Absolutely.
Oh wait, no, that was the regular E50.
But this is the thing. It's like I'm doing a lot of streaming on Asia at the moment, and a lot of the all my tanks are stock, and I'm just doing one single line. And a lot of people have said to me, "Why don't you just free XP it?" And I said the other day, the reason why I didn't free XP the Malshan to the top gun and the top engine and the top tracks is because there's a reason why you are given stock tanks as your starting point. If you can play that tank stock and you can play it well, when you finally upgrade it, you know how to play the tank perfectly. And this is what people are forgetting. The reason why back in the day you weren't able to rush through the tiers was to give you the time to learn how to play the tank. Now I think it was just shy of 5k damage in the Malshan the other day, stock. And somebody said to me, "Wow, that's amazing, it's stock." I said, yeah, but you can play it stock. People just choose not to because they want the big gun. And then what you get people rolling out with the big gun in the tracks in the engine, and they think, "Oh, now I'm invincible, I've got a big gun." You're not invincible. And the thing about going out stock, it teaches you how to play the tank when it's got no armor, no mobility, and a shit gun. Now you imagine if you can master a tank in that position, you imagine how much better you can play it once you've got a better gun, better armor, better engine, better mobility. You'll be laughing. And this is the thing that the new players are not understanding. And this is where wargaming are at fault, because they've allowed people to rush for money. And it's not pay to win, it's pay to advance. So I was given, when I got the Malshan, the option to do an instant upgrade for 4,000 gold or something. Shouldn't be able to do that. I still strongly believe every tank, you should not be able to upgrade instantly. You can still free XP it, that's up to you, because you've earned the XP. But you should still play them stock without being given the option to instantly upgrade. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, gold.
But if you've got the free XP, that's fine. You've earned the free XP. But to do instant upgrades, I don't think that's right. I think this is one of the problems that you get why people can't play the tanks. One of the most notorious tanks to play stock is the Leo PTA, by the way. It's absolutely dreadful. But I'll tell you what, if you can play that... That's the problem. If you can play that tank stock relatively okay, and I'm not saying you've got to set the world on fire, when you get to upgrade that tank, you will play it amazingly. Because it is unbelievably difficult to play stock. That's what that was there for.
Which is something that is...
Like I said, I can blame wargaming for a lot of things, but at the end of the day, yeah, they've got to retain their player base, but at the same token, the players themselves have also got to bring in a little bit of common sense and say, well, I've only played. I saw this the other day. I've only played 103 battles. I don't think I'm quite ready for the E100 yet. But I was on the Asian server, and there was a guy there with 106 battles with an E100. And before you say anything, he was not a reroll. So all he had done is throw money at it, because you can instantly upgrade without the free XP, guys. So that players need to have a little bit of common sense as well, because it's not going to make them play better, and it's going to spoil their game, and it's going to spoil the game of the people they're playing with, and that's a little bit naughty. Win rate doesn't matter, I don't think, Jacques Berthy. I've always argued that. Win rate is team dependent.
I do think that there's some merit to people having a little bit of high expectations for the game, though. And in that, what I mean is, like, you have to remember, even the best players in the game in any server, the best players lose 3 out of every 10 battles.
True, true. Yeah.
MM.
And he's still looking at me. Sorry, I'm playing.
I know what you're saying there, and I'm just going back to this one from Iljak and Stygian, because they're both arguing it now. Win rate. I tell you why I don't put a lot of emphasis on win rate. If I really wanted to get on my main account a 60% win rate, and I'm 53% on my main account, I could just drop down to a low tier 4, take a Matilda, and win battles, and that's it. It won't make me feel satisfied or proud or anything, but I'll get my 60% win rate in time, because all I've done is spammed a Matilda or something along those lines, which is difficult to bloody pen at the best of times. And I'm a good player on the Matilda because I had to play it a lot back in the day when I was grinding the damn thing, and I could get my 60% win rate that way. Now, I mean, Jory, what's your win rate at the moment?
65 or so.
So I will go out and I'll get my 65% win rate in my Matilda. Now this is where you separate the men from the boys. Jory, what's your average damage?
2,100.
That's the difference, because if you've got, I'll tell you this for a fact. I see many players with 60% win rates with 1,000 damage, and sometimes lower. When you're churning out over 2,000 damage as an average, that's a different playing field. These are different players. And then when you look at what their average damage is and what their average win rate is on tier 10, again, it's worlds apart. And
that's why so many people care about WN8, because it takes basically everything into account.
And that's what I agree with. Because I could be a 65% player, equal win rate as Jory, just playing my Matilda. It does not make me the same as Jory in any way, shape or form.
There was a bit of a trick to that, though. I mean, a lot of people used to just spam like the 183 and the Jaggeroo to get those numbers inflated,
It's back in the day, yes, you could do, but even then, I mean, the 183, I mean, on an average battle, you're going to fire what? Top 5 rounds, maybe 6 average. No, 4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 rounds you'll do. No, the chat is not invite only. The Jaegeroo's about the same. So to get your average damage up to the 2,000, you need to be doing a lot of games with a Jaegeroo and a 183 to get your average of 2,000, and you have to be doing 5,000 damage games. Now, admittedly, the parameters have changed a little bit now since they've given the likes of the mouse 3,000 hit points. It sort of allows you to get your average damage up. But I'm telling you, I mean, if you've got a 2,000, if you've got 1,500 plus average damage, certainly if you've got 2,000 plus average damage, you're top. If you've got 15,000 to 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000, then you're in the top as well, and that's that's the difference. And I don't care what your win rate is. If I roll out and see you've got an average damage, you've got a win rate of 40%, and you've got an average damage of 2,200, you're a good player. Trust me. Unless, of course, you've done 2 million battles, then maybe you're not a good player. But your chances are you're a good player. That's the thing. And that's the difference. I have seen so many people rolling out with 60, 70% win rates, thinking they're the bee's knees, and they've got an average damage of 700. I've seen that.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Now it's quiet.
I mean that's the only reason I say it. I mean look at this. This is no look, just skill. He's a really, really good player, by the way. Awesome player. He's just done 8,189 damage in the FV4202 in this replay, which is a shed load of damage in that tank. It's a good tank, by the way, if you know how to play it, and your enemies allow you to play it the way it needs to be played. I mean, let's have a look at him. His average damage per battle is 2,527. So, and that's after 3,000 battles. He is not playing, if I look at his stats, I'm guaranteeing you, he is not playing the low tiers in any way, shape or form. He is playing top tier tanks to get that average. 2,500 damage, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
I mean, if I go to every good name is taken, and we'll have a look at every good name is taken because he's a really good player. So he's done 26,000 battles. He has a 70% win rate, and he has an average damage of 2,165.
What the heck? Okay.
And if I look at his stats, most of his look at his lower tiers. He's only played 79 battles in tier 1. Most of his are tier 8 to 10.
Look at the Hellcat. Look at the Hellcat.
Yeah, that bumps him up. But this is the difference, guys. This is what I'm saying. And then if I look at who else can I look at? Who's a good player? Who's on Fizzy? Fizzy's a good player. So let's have a look at Fizzy. So Fizzy has got 1,400 average damage, 57% win rate.
Hell.
You know, and if I look at his stats again. He's only play. You know, if you look at his low tiers, he hardly plays the low tiers. All his stuff is in 8 through to 10. And this is the difference why I'm saying, you know, win rate is a good thing, don't get me wrong. It's a great meta. However, it's not, you know, there are some players who've got good win rates who don't deserve those win rates because they're doing low tier games. Mighty Noob. There's another one. Mighty Noob, another really good player. So average damage 1,800, victory is 60%. And if you look at his stats, mostly tier 10. Look at that. Virtually everything in tier 10. Hardly anything in the low tiers. And this is the thing. So this is how you know these guys are good players, because their average damage is massive. Absolutely massive. And it's a big difference. And that's what I look for. I look at the damage and see how good. Yennefer is another one. APA. He's also pro player. 2,232 average damage, 66% win rate. And again, look at where his battles are. Look at where his battles are between tier 8 and tier 10. That's it. And that's what sets them apart, guys. And that's why they're good players. Not because they're spamming the low tiers to get their win rate up, but they're playing the top tiers to get their win rate and their damage up. And that's the big difference. That's the big difference.
Have you ever heard of a player named Object 3?
I have heard of Object 3, yes.
Yeah, he started up the channel, his own YouTube channel recently, and I started following him, and he's had some really beautiful matches. Speaking of win rate, yeah, he's got like 80% win rate, I believe.
Yeah.
But the way he plays,
80%.
Oh, that's the thing. Fizzy had 95 on Asia the other day.
I have 67 battles in tier 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah. That's the thing. You know, this is the thing. And when you look on Blitz Stars, if you go onto Blitz Stars, you go check any player out, it'll tell you their average tier. And it's the average tier you want to look at.
Yeah. Admittedly, the Object 3 player, he did his very first video, he showed himself with a 12,000 battles and 55% win rate, and then he upped his stat dramatically by playing that Kenyatsu. And
that's what I mean. You can do that.
But have you guys ever been in a battle? Then the guy's like, I have a 60% win rate and stuff like that, and then he only has like a 800 average damage.
Yeah.
He plays low tiers and spams it.
I can't remember who asked me a long time ago now. A YouTuber. It was a long time ago now, and I can't remember which YouTuber it was, which really annoys me. And I think it was somebody like Soft Rescue or something. I can't remember who it was now for the life of me. It was about a couple of years ago, and they were doing a video, and they asked, "Has anybody?" It was a general request. Had anybody come across somebody who had a 65% plus win rate, but all their battles had been in the low tiers? And I had come across a player who had a 68% win rate after 35,000 battles, of which 30,000 battles had been played exclusively in tier 3.
Wow.
I don't
Wow.
know how that is for you.
John. That is
Now,
How do you still win the game when all you do is play tier 3 and know your shit at the game and your stats are only playing tier 3?
you know what? I don't care though. If he's happy at staying in tier 3, then that's up to him. He can play the game how he feels fit. I would rather somebody with that win rate and that ability staying in tier 3 and playing the game the way he plays than having somebody who thinks with their 66% win rate shooting into tier 8, 9 and 10 with their with their average damage at 700 thinking that they're shit up. That's two different things.
Yeah, no, and I
Picking on
agree.
CHATS or
Listen,
calling everyone noobs and all this.
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Most clubbers are not very selfish, to be honest with you.
No, they're not. And they don't venture out of their clubbing distance, to be fair. They sit in those low tiers and club away. And if they want to do that, I'm happy for them. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
But
I don't want play in high.
Here's the only problem that I have with the clubbers, and this is where it is very off-putting for new players. Is so, for instance, I ran into this Kinyatsu clubber.
Mhm.
By that I mean he's got like over 10,000 battles in Kinyatsu. Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
10,000?
Okay, so hear me out. So here's the problem though. What it was I was on one night, I was on a mission, I was trying to ace one of my collector things or something. So I was playing a couple of tier 3 battles or whatever. And the problem is, I had to face this guy. I ran into this guy 5 out of 6 matches. 5 out of 6 matches he was on the opposing team. He was only on my team 1 match. But out of 6 matches, I had to fight the guy 5 times. That as a new player, that's like dude. I mean that's the only problem. But we had a little conversation and whatnot, and like you did had alluded to, you know, they don't stay out of their comfort zone.
No, they don't.
Talk to them, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, I do it. It's what I enjoy playing the game, and I'm gonna play. I'm in my Kinyatsu. That's the way I play. That's
Yeah.
my attitude, you know.
Yeah, and he's perfectly entitled to do that. And okay, you've got the argument that he's spoiling the game for others. Not really. To be honest with you, I've never seen the problem with sealed clubbing per se. And the reason I say that is because now, no matter what tier you are in, you're going to be sealed clubbed. If I roll out in tier 10 and on the opposite team I see the likes of Jory and Whoopsie and Juicy Tender Steak, I'm going to be sealed clubbed. It's as simple as that. We have to, deal with it. There are a lot better players out there than than you'll ever be. Deal with it. They're going to hurt you. They're going to club you. They're going to smack you around. Simple. Doesn't matter if it's in a low tier or a high tier. You're still going to get clubbed by somebody better than you.
Yeah, I mean, as long as steel clubbers just stay in their own lanes, so to speak, it's all good.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And you know what? I would rather sealed clubbers did exist, because then it may teach new players, wow, I need to be able to play the tank like that. Because when I joined, I never knew what a sealed clubber was when I started. I just thought they were better than me and I was shit at playing. Admittedly, that mentality hasn't changed much, But, you know, I still think the player, well, it has, because now I roll out and I see a pro player on the other team and I'm like, great, let's see if I can kill him, see if I can do better than him. But back in those days when you're a new player, you don't know you don't know anything about the game. You don't know if they're good players, bad players, you don't know if you're good or bad, really. Steel clubbing was never a big thing for me. And if people want to stat paddle in that respect, then fine, let them. It's no big deal. But don't then turn around and say, we don't like people stat paddling. Oh, and by the way, we're now going to allow you to, basically automatically upgrade all your tanks all the way up to tier 10, if you've got the money. Now, I get the fact it's a business, but that's where the problem lies, and they should stop it. They should stop that. Anyway, enough. Well, this is why I'm saying they should stop a little bit with regard to releasing new tanks. And they should bring in potentially, like we've spoken about before, different game modes that will entice you to play the game for a bit longer, like these campaign missions or whatever that they have on PC. I think that would appeal to a lot of players, but you've got to make the prizes decent. And like I said, there's no harm in making prizes like you did with the recent ratings, a similar thing, an IS-6 fearless, but make it something else. I don't know, KV5 indestructible or something. Who cares what it's called?
On PC, the campaigns have like such great rewards. Like really, they're like the Object 277, I think it's called. It's got no like lower plate and stuff. Like
yeah,
they're very hard to get. So only the top of the top of the top of the top actually get the tanks.
And that's what. And if they brought that in rather than new premium tank every 5 minutes, I mean, what's in the store at the moment? Let's have a look. We've got the E75 TS and the AMX M4 Melee. We've got the M449, the E75 TS. Very expensive, those two. The M4 is not that bad. Got the 115A, which is in the store as well. We've got the IS-2 and the ISU 130. We got all the Y5s that were the free event tanks last year. We've got the Sentinel and the Excelsior, which also, if you buy another one, you get the FE201 A45 at 6,000 gold. Then we've got the bundles. We've got the E25 again. We've got the VK 900. We got the PZB2, we've got the Unbelievable 4, which is the T20, the Biscuit, and all that sort of stuff, the Wi-Fi's from last year. We've got the T20, of course. And on top of that, we've got all the premium tanks as well that you can get. So, there's loads of tanks that can be had at the moment. I wouldn't spend that much money on most of them. 20,000 for the WZ115A. I would say bide your time, guys. It's a collector. Bide your time. If you're at tier 10 and you're down that line anyway, get the 113. It's a better tank.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. It's a better tank.
This guy's raging because he got killed by a slow tank. Could have circled him, and now he's raging.
It happens. It's like that. It's like the E75 TS.
He's calling us kids.
Yeah, they do that. I mean, it's like the E75. The E75 TS. Is it worth 10,000 gold? I would argue that it isn't at tier 8. It's not. It's not that good. It's a good tank, but it's not that good.
I don't know. I bought that tank actually when it came out initially for 12,500, even more, and that was the one tank where I actually was happy I bought it. I played that thing for like 2 weeks straight.
The E75 TS it's definitely better than the old Tiger 2, but
don't get me wrong, and trust me, guys, it's definitely better than the T2020. And if you've got money that's burning a hole in your pocket, if you've got money, if you want a tier 8 and you want a tier 8 heavy and you've got money burning a big hole in your pocket, get the E75 TS, not the T2020.
No, how about
Do
you
guys want to hear the stats of the guys?
They're probably, I don't know, what are they then?
Okay, so 47.5% victory ratio, 850 average damage per battle, and almost 5k battles.
What tier were you in?
Tier 6.
Okay. That is acceptable for tier 6, yeah, to be fair. But he would have still moaned. Anyway. But what I'm saying is when you start getting those players at tier 10 with that win rate, it's not that win rate, with that average damage. Win rate's normal. The win rate, 46 to 48% is average win rate, guys. Anything above 48%, you're above average. Okay? So don't everybody start thinking that, oh, I've only got a 47% win rate, I'm not good. Actually, you are. You're average, believe it or not.
You still need more practice, though.
You do.
I'm still average in some tanks. I mean,
But that's normal. That's normal. The pro players will tell you, whilst they're good in most tanks, when it comes to the tournaments, there are pro players who can only play heavies or certain mediums. They won't even touch a TD or a light. There are certain players, and for example, if you ever watch APA, I will guarantee you, if APA are rolling out on the battlefield in a tournament, Ernest will be in a Sheridan. That is his favourite. That is his preferred tank. Always. Simple. And that's how, so you're going to have players who are good at one particular type of tank over another particular type of tank. So you're not going to be good in all the tanks. So no, that's just not possible.
yeah, that's true, because there's some tanks I can't play worth a darn, and then I go up another tank pretty well.
Absolutely. And then that's how it works. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, the average win rate.
Individual tanks.
Yeah.
You could do really good in an RG251, but stuck with a T49.
Absolutely.
They're the same class, but they're very different tanks.
Yeah, it's like you're saying there, yeah. Yes, the average win rate for the entire community is 48%, which means if you're 46%, you're average. If you're 47%, you're average. It's simple as that. 49%, you're average. 50%, you're average.
When I said his win rate was 47.
I was average.
Yeah.
I had a 48.03% win rate.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to offend anyone.
No, you're not offending anybody. I mean, I know what you're trying to say. I mean, he was moaning, he was whinging, and he was gobbing off. And that unfortunately does happen. Unfortunately. DJ Khaled.
Who was moaning and raging?
The guy in the game. And I've seen, don't get me wrong, I played a game the other day on live stream in Asia. I think it was Asia. And no, it wasn't Asia. Oh, damn. And I can't show you. Oh, right, okay. I was in the FV4202 on Dead Rail. It was actually the EU server. And I wish I could show you the replay because it's funny. And I did 5,600 damage in the tank. We lost, but I did 5,600 damage in the tank. For the entire game, I had a guy in a Sheridan, I think, bitching and moaning for the entire game, telling everybody to report me, blah blah blah. Guess how much damage he did?
0.
And he was a 42% win rate player with about 2,000 battles. And this guy, he died immediately. He yellowed in and got wasted. And he just literally the rest of the game, and he died in the first minute. And the rest of the game, he was just saying, the FV player, report him, he has no clue, he's a bad player, he's useless. And there's me with 4 kills, 5,000 odd damage. We still lose, because my team got wasted. And that's what annoys me. That is what annoys me when that happens. And then I said to him afterwards, I said, mate, if you spent as much energy on learning to play the bloody game as you did in telling everybody to report me, you'd actually would have survived and been a better player. And this is the difference.
Tell them, just uninstall the game.
Well,
Find a different game.
do a really good battle in a tank, and then the next battle I do really crap damage, and that's just if I think gets wasted and I get wasted.
But that happens. You can't win them all, and you can't be the top damage in every game. You know, there are games you will go out and score 0 damage. I get that, but don't score 0 damage and then tell everybody they're idiots, they're noobs, they delete the game, blah blah blah.
Especially if you're gonna YOLO like that.
Absolutely.
First 30 seconds.
YOLO, yeah, you can call them that.
Yeah.
If they YOLO into the enemy. Or AFK, especially in rating, they go AFK.
9.2 K Mohammed is a really good role in the Jaeger. My top was 8.5, I think.
Their name is player and they go AFK.
Like, okay, that draw battle, there wasn't much I could do to not get a draw or lose, because, I mean, I just sent 2 replays of the T-34-2. I'm not very good with that tank.
I like that tank. Mediocre Joker, no, you're right. You're right. You don't know the circumstances.
People tell me I'm playing it with the wrong gun. Okay, but the other gun has bad dispersion issues, and it has good aim time, but it's got that horrible dispersion. 122.
Depression as well.
Like,
they lack
Mediocre Joker makes.
Guns have bad gun dispersion, the 100 millimeter and the 122.
Mediocre Joker makes a good point there. Says you don't know the circumstances behind. So, for example, I'll give you a story. I played a game a long time ago now, where there was a really bad player. He was truly shocking. 39% win rate after sort of 15,000 battles, and he didn't say a thing throughout the entire battle. And he played okay. He was shocking, but he played okay, and he did his job. And I think I gave him a thumbs up or something for team player. Discovered afterwards, the guy was 68 years of age. Okay. Recently lost his wife, and he plays the game to deal with the grief after being married for like 50, 60 odd bloody years, whatever it was. And he's got rheumatoid arthritis, and his eyesight is going, and you know he's an old guy, and basically he's falling apart. But he plays the game because he enjoys it, and it takes his mind off it. Now, anybody shouting at him, "Go die of cancer," that's disgraceful. And that's what, I agree with you there, Mediocre Joker. You shouldn't shout at people because you don't know the circumstances behind them. What I get annoyed at is when people shout at you because they're crap. I don't mind being shouted at because I played crap. I do mind being shouted at by somebody who played crap and you're playing good. That's 2 different things. But you're right, you should never abuse people because you don't know the circumstances. You don't know who the player is who's playing. It could be a disabled person, it could be, I don't know, it could be anything. You never know. And they're entitled to play the game as much as we are. Everybody's entitled to play the game. Good, bad, shit player, good skills, no skills, doesn't matter. And the job of us as a community is to encourage them to get better. Not encourage them to be arseholes, basically.
Everyone is doing that.
Well, it's bad enough when you idiots, morons, delete the game, but when you start saying "go die,"
that happens a lot though. That's tailed off a lot. That's tailed off a lot recently. I mean, I call people muppets and morons. I'm a human being, and I also get annoyed and get frustrated with bad teams. Because everybody does, but the thing that gripes me isn't people playing badly. It's people purposely blocking you or doing shit like that. That's the thing that really pushes me over the edge. Yeah, because
on my True Legal account, there have been times I blocked a player, but I sure because typing takes time and it's
absolutely.
sitting there doing nothing while you're typing.
That's what I'm saying. If he would have spent if they would spend energy in playing as they do typing.
This way, so I'm blocking them and trying to move like go this way. I'm trying to tell them with my you need to go this way with your tank because that's the way you should go with your tank. And
Yeah.
just kind of ramming around. I finally give up because I'm like, you know what, they're not gonna listen to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people who go AFK. Everybody bitches and moans about AFK. Guys, there are reasons why people go AFK. I mean, I could play on the game and all of a sudden the internet could go due to a blackout or anything. Doesn't mean I've joined the game because I'm a consistent AFK player. It just happens. I've lost my Wi-Fi. You know, it's a mobile game. It's not a PC game. Okay.
What if like their mom or something were in an emergency and then you're like delete game and stuff like that?
Exactly, and I've had that. I mean, I went to do a live stream a while ago now, and it's I've made no excuse. I've made no secret about it. My wife has no kidneys. And I was about to do a live stream. I just started a game, and then we had to rush her to hospital. So I had to drop everything. And I could have, somebody could have turned around and said, "Oh, he's gone AFK." Well, I've gone AFK because my wife is seriously ill, and I need to take her to hospital. What do you want me to do about that? Yeah, just say to her, "Don't die yet. I've got another 3 minutes to go." I mean, come on. No, you're right, PT. You can turn off chat. That's a good one. Yeah.
I only have chat because global chat, that's when it gets really bad.
To be honest with you, I very rarely see what's going on in the chat. And people have said to me, "Oh, are you ignoring me now?" I said, "No, I didn't see what you said, sorry."
Too bad there's no way they can cycle AFK players out after they've been AFK for a certain period of time and cycle another player in mid-battle.
No, there's no way they can do that. There's no way they can do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'd be too complicated.
I mean, AFK, unfortunately, is part and parcel of the game. People will go AFK. It's a mobile game, or at least it was designed to be a mobile game. And therefore, the game is set up to be played whilst you're mobile. And World of Tanks Wargaming's argument is, guys, if you don't want to play a mobile game, by all means, have a look at our other game. It's called World of Tanks PC. Simple as that, really. So.
I PC just because of our children. I do not want to deal with that.
Well, I've never played it. Thank you, Tommy D. Well, I've never played it. Is the honest answer. And the reason I've never played it is because I like this game. Because it's fast, it's furious, it's 7 minutes, 7 against 7. It suits me to the ground. I'd rather play that than the epic battles that you get in World of Tanks PC.
Well, I tried console. I don't know if PC is harder, but some people say console is harder because of the controls. But
I played it on PS4. I played one game on PS4, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's not like Blitz.
Well, the problem I have with console is it takes forever to update when it downloads updates.
Well, I've never really played it. I played one game, and
I played it briefly because I was going to switch to it, but I wanted to try a different version. And PC, the problem I have is so many buttons to put on the keyboard, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah. That's why I don't play on the PC. I can't play on a PC. I just can't work it all out.
Yeah, but all the buttons plus artillery just turns me off.
And on that point, that's it. We've been on for 2 hours, which is again longer than I always anticipate these ones to go. So all those on YouTube, thank you for jumping in. All those on Discord, again, thank you for jumping in. We're back again next week, so if you've got anything you want to discuss, feel free. It's not invite only, guys. jump into Discord, jump into the voice chat. These things are here for you to have your say as well, for you to raise things that you're concerned with, that you want a soapbox to get off your chest, because we all moan about the game, all of us, and the idea of this is to give every player a soapbox to say, I don't like X, Y, Z. Simple. And to discuss it rather than let it fester away and piss everybody off. So
Also interact with people from other servers.
absolutely, that's the idea. It's to talk to some of the better players, you know, some not so good players, some average players. You can talk to them all, and you know, everybody on here more than happy to share their views, thoughts, and opinions, and that's what it's all about. And with that, I'm going to go. So again, thank you all for joining. I'm on a game tomorrow. Not today. I'm not playing today. I never play on a Saturday unless it's a competition.
Usually the most crowded.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best day for the servers. But I'll be back tomorrow with Asia, followed by EU. So until then, guys, I say my usual thing: stay safe, literally. Have fun and happy tanking, because you know that is what really it's all about. It's a game. Have fun and be happy. Until then, see you all. Absolutely. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.
Yes, sir.